Most people wait for some extraordinary moment to rescue them, transform them, or pull them out of the life they feel trapped in. But what if the moment you're waiting for isn't coming the way you imagine? What if the real rapture is something happening inside you, not outside you? This message is about awakening to a truth that can change everything. The real transformation you're searching for doesn't begin with some dramatic shift in the world around you. It begins in the quiet, often uncomfortable space within yourself. Most people think change comes from big, external events, something powerful enough to shake their life into alignment. But the truth is, the most life-altering changes start long before anything visible happens. They begin the moment you decide to confront your inner barriers instead of waiting for the world to move them for you. The moment you stop saying, "I hope things get better," and start saying, "I will become better," your entire life starts shifting. It's subtle at first. It's not glamorous. It's not explosive. It's a whisper inside you saying, "Enough. This version of me can't carry me into the future I want." Transformation happens in the moment you acknowledge the gap between who you are and who you're capable of being. Most people avoid that gap. They fear it. They numb it. But if you're willing to face it, something powerful awakens, a drive that refuses to let you settle for the smallness you've been hiding inside. The rapture people imagine is a sudden, dramatic lifting, but the real lifting is built through your choices, your discipline, your courage to act even when you don't feel ready. You rise the moment you stop identifying with your weaknesses and start identifying with your potential. Every major shift in a person's life begins when they challenge their internal narrative. That voice that says you're not enough, that you're too late, that your past defines you, that voice is the real obstacle. And once you recognize that it's not the world holding you back, but your own story about yourself, you reclaim power you didn't even know you had. Suddenly, you're no longer waiting for a breakthrough. You become the breakthrough. You begin stepping into the version of yourself you were always meant to meet. It's not easy. Internal transformation demands honesty. It requires you to admit where you've been avoiding responsibility. It forces you to confront the moments you gave up, held back, or let fear dictate your choices. But that level of truth is the spark that ignites real growth. It separates those who talk about change from those who embody it. And when you start choosing growth over comfort, everything in your life begins aligning around your new identity. The real transformation doesn't happen in one moment. It happens through accumulation of many small, committed, relentless decisions. Decisions to show up when your mind tells you to quit. Decisions to keep going when results seem invisible. Decisions to invest in yourself even when no one else believes in you yet. That's the inner lifting, the elevation of who you are at your core. And here's the incredible part. Once the transformation begins within you, the external world has no choice but to shift around you. Opportunities you once overlooked start appearing. Relationships change, sometimes fall away, sometimes become deeper. Your energy evolves, your confidence stabilizes. Life responds to the person you are becoming, not the person you were. That is why the internal transformation is the most powerful kind, because it doesn't depend on luck, timing, or circumstance. It depends on your willingness to rise. The moment you choose to step into a higher version of yourself, the old version begins to fall away. That is the real rapture, the separation between who you were and who you're becoming. The world doesn't have to shake for your life to change. You just have to shake the limits you've placed on yourself. And when you do, you'll discover that the greatest elevation was always waiting inside you. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for something monumental to happen. A sign, a miracle, a sudden shift that will sweep them out of their struggles and transport them into a better reality. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect feeling. But waiting is the slowest form of surrender. It convinces you that the power to change your life is somewhere outside of you, hidden in an event you can't predict and can't control. That mindset keeps you stuck, hoping instead of acting, watching instead of rising. The truth is that life doesn't reward the ones who wait, it rewards the ones who move. When you stop waiting for a life-changing event and start creating the conditions for change yourself, everything begins to accelerate. Momentum builds not because fate chooses you, but because you choose yourself. There is nothing more powerful than the moment you stop believing that you need something dramatic to happen in order to start. You don't need everything to fall into place. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need certainty. You need willingness. You need courage. You need to say, I may not have everything figured out, but I'm not staying where I am. People imagine transformation as a grand explosion, a sudden elevation that sweeps them from their current self to their ideal self. But in reality, transformation is born from daily choices that feel small, simple, even invisible. It might be choosing discipline over comfort. It might be choosing honesty over excuses. It might be choosing to step forward when fear tells you to step back. These decisions are not spectacular in the moment, but they accumulate. They build pressure like water rising behind a dam. Eventually, the force becomes too great to contain, and your life breaks open in ways you never expected. But that breakthrough only happens when you stop waiting for someone or something to initiate your change. Waiting is seductive because it feels safe. It lets you avoid the uncomfortable truth that you are responsible for your own elevation. It allows you to pretend that the right timing or the right circumstances are somewhere in the future. But if you look closely, the people who rise are not the ones who feel ready. They are the ones who act despite not feeling ready. They don't wait for life to move. They move and life responds. When you take action before the perfect moment arrives, you train your mind to trust you. You become someone who doesn't need permission, someone who doesn't need clarity to begin, someone who doesn't need guarantees to step forward. That version of you is unstoppable because nothing external can control your growth. You hold the steering wheel of your own destiny. This shift from waiting to acting is what separates dreamers from achievers. Dreamers hope, achievers decide, dreamers imagine what could be. Achievers build what will be, dreamers wait for a sign. Achievers become the sign. And once you step into that mindset, life begins to open in ways you never experienced before. Doors appear that you didn't even know existed. Opportunities flow toward the energy of someone who moves with intention and hunger. So stop waiting for the sky to split open. Stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. Stop waiting for the fear to disappear. Start moving even if the step is small. Start choosing growth even if it's uncomfortable. Start building your future now, not when the world finally gives you permission. The life-changing event you're waiting for might never happen, but the life-changing decision you can make today will start a transformation far more powerful than anything you've been hoping for. The moment you stop waiting is the moment everything begins. Your life rises when your standards rise. It's that simple, and at the same time, that demanding. Most people want a higher quality of life without committing to a higher quality of self. They want success without discipline, peace without boundaries, confidence without effort, and transformation without sacrifice. But elevation never happens at the level where your old habits, old patterns, and old mindset live. If you truly want to ascend, you must outgrow the version of yourself that kept you stagnant. You must raise the standards that shape your decisions, your behavior, your relationships, and your identity. A standard is not a wish. It's not something you hope to meet. A standard is a non-negotiable. It's a line you draw that says, this is who I am now, and anything below this cannot stay. And the moment you create that standard, your entire life begins to rearrange itself around it. You stop tolerating laziness in yourself. You stop entertaining people who drain you. You stop accepting excuses that once felt comfortable. You stop living at the level of survival and start operating at the level of intention. When you elevate your standards, your decisions become sharper, your actions become bolder, and your purpose becomes clearer. Raising your standards is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront the ways you've been living below your potential. You have to look at the promises you broke to yourself. You have to face the habits that slowed you down. You have to admit that some of the pain in your life wasn't caused by fate. It was caused by allowing too little from yourself and too much from everything else. But this honesty isn't meant to shame you. It's meant to free you. Because once you acknowledge the gap between the life you want and the standards you've been living by, you gain the power to close that gap. Your standards shape your destiny more than your circumstances ever will. Circumstances can change in a moment, but standards define how you respond, how you adapt, and how you rise. When your standards are low, everything feels overwhelming. Challenges crush you. Disappointments drain you. Fear controls you. But when you raise your standards, the same challenges become stepping stones. The same disappointments become lessons. The same fears become fuel. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to strengthen in me? That mindset alone elevates your entire existence. Raising your standards also changes the people around you. Some will rise with you. They'll match your energy, support your growth, and walk beside you. Others will distance themselves because your evolution exposes their resistance to change. Don't fear that separation. It is part of the lifting process. As you ascend, not everyone will be willing to rise with you, and that's okay. The higher version of you doesn't need validation from the lower version of your circle. What matters is that you keep climbing, not shrinking to remain acceptable. And here's the truth: the moment you raise your standards, life begins to meet you at that level. Opportunities show up because you finally believe you deserve them. Strength shows up because you finally demand it from yourself. Courage shows up because your purpose requires it. The world mirrors who you choose to become. When your standards rise, your future rises with them. The real ascension is not about waiting for some external event to lift you. It's about lifting yourself by refusing to live below the level of your own potential. When you raise your standards, you transform your identity. And when your identity changes, your entire life follows. This is the inner elevation, the one that doesn't come from the sky, but from the depth of your own decision to rise.